Hello, everyone. I'm here with Celeste, and today we're going to discuss first steps for recruiting, and we're going to have a very candid conversation about what is hard about starting the recruiting process, even when you love your business and your company. And then we're going to give Celeste some coaching, and we're thinking that if Celeste is having a hard time with this, then probably lots of people in our community are. And so you'll be able to learn via proxy without, feeling on the spot. So first, Celeste, I want to say thank you so much for agreeing to be vulnerable and putting yourself out here. So can you tell us what is hard for you when it comes to recruiting right now?
I think the hardest thing is going out and um, asking people if they would be interested in the business opportunity.
Which people? Just people?
My customers, my current customers.
Okay. So you're talking to your current customer, and what is the language that you're using right now? And what's the process that you've used in the past, I guess?
I would just ask them if they would be interested in earning additional income, if they'd be interested in learning more about the business opportunity.
Okay. And then what's happening?
Some people say yes, some people say no, some people say maybe. And on occasion, I've gotten some yeses. And when I've gone with those yeses, it doesn't seem like they're that serious about the building process or working the business.
What does serious and working the business mean to you?
Um, First of all, with being serious is being committed. Um, and working the business, taking the steps to learn more about how the business operates and actually doing the work.
So one thing that I'm going to say, and you're cool with me just asking direct questions or making direct observations in your language, right? I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So to me, that feels pretty vague. So if you were like, Tasha, I need you to be serious, and you told me taking the steps to do the work, that's so vague to me. I wouldn't even know what that is. So do you have a clear definition of success for new builders in their first 30 days?
No, I don't.
Okay, and why do you think that might be messing up? I see you're like lit up, right? Why do you think that might be messing up your recruiting process?
Because I don't have anything clear to explain to them.
Yep. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make a note. We'll start there, but I'm going to dig a little bit more and then we're going to figure out everything. Now, once
Okay.
they say yes to they're interested in learning more, what is your
Uh-huh.
next step?
Um, it's actually been a while since I've taken that next step. Um, so what I had been doing was trying to plug them into company trainings.
Okay. And then you were getting failure to launch.
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to, my book is called Customer First.
Uh-huh.
And that's our philosophy is customer first, team second, ego third. And so the way we I use this philosophy in leadership and in recruiting is we want to look at the launch process and the recruiting process from the eyes of the person who's being launched, not the eyes of the launcher. So one of the observations that I have found, and I was, in direct sales for a while, and we worked hard with our new people, is that a lot of the tactics, and I think that there's reason for it, are really based out of the convenience for the network marketer. What is the least amount of anything that the network marketer can do in order to take some action? Which
Uh-huh.
I know we've had conversations in our mastermind that works. That's fine for 90 days. That's fine
Right.
for 3 months, 4 months while you're getting your feet wet. If you're in the business for 5, 10 years, in my opinion, that isn't acceptable anymore.
Right. And
Um,
see, I've been in it for 8 years and I'm still struggling with this.
yeah, well, because it's the simplest for you, but I want you to look at it from the eyes of a business builder for a moment. I'm going
Okay.
to attempt to duplicate your process. It'll be a little bit of a caricature, but please don't take offense to that. But I just want you to feel. So you're my builder. I ask you, and I think this is great. The first step, I think you're doing 100% right. Are you interested in learning more about how to earn income or do this as a business? You say yes. They say,
Uh-huh.
okay, cool. Now I'm going to invite you to these company trainings on how to do the business. I'm not really sure what I want you to do after that or what success looks like, but I just want you to come to the trainings. How does that
Right.
feel to you if you were trying to learn how to do a business?
A little bit awkward.
Do you feel like you're missing a step?
Yes.
And what step do you notice that you're like, wait a second, what step do you feel is missing as the person being recruited?
Um, I would say maybe giving the person hands-on experience
Giving
and
them an
maybe
opportunity.
also
Yep.
different, not providing them with the steps to take.
Yeah, so it's missing what I call the conversion event.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, so it's sales process. We're like, Celeste, usually what I do is set up a time, blah, 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 go over your health goals, a little about the company, most popular kits. My part will take about 30 minutes. You don't have to get anything. But if you see something like, I'll help you order it. How does that sound? You say yes. I say, okay, great. Let's have a conversation, set up a time where we're going to do these things. I set up a conversation with you. You tell me about your health goals. I tell you a little bit about the company. I explain the 2 most popular kits. Then you're able to make an informed decision, right?
Right.
So we need to duplicate the same thing for the recruiting process.
Okay.
You're missing a step where they make a decision. So this isn't a job, but it is a business, which is actually, I think, bigger than a job. So
Right.
wouldn't I need to know, what am I going to do? How do I get paid? And don't I need to connect with my leader on a core level? What do you think about that? Do you feel like the people who are saying, yes, I'd like to learn more are getting that type of experience?
When I recruited people and signed them on, yes, they were, because I was making it a point to doing that. And it's been a while since I've actually recruited people. And so that's pretty much stopped because I haven't recruited anybody in quite a while.
How many invitations have you been, how many times in a week have you been saying, are you interested in learning more about how to earn money or do this as a business?
I rarely do it.
Okay, so let's walk through a little bit of math. Because what I'm hearing you say I can see it in your eyes. You're like, oh, so I'm going to summarize what I think is happening and you can tell me is right. What you're realizing is the reason you're not recruiting is more because of activity than it is about something else. Are you
Right.
getting some of that?
Right. And also, um, maybe a fear of asking and thinking that they may not be interested. So I don't ask.
Well, yeah, because the next question, I mean, you got me. My next question was simply going to be, why do you think you're resisting asking? And so let's see if we can just have some targets. Now, I'm going to do an asterisk. Whenever we're doing math, it's helpful, it's important, not helpful, important for each network marketer to track their own numbers and try to find bottlenecks. So I'm going to give you some estimates as a baseline, but your
Okay.
numbers are what really matter, right? So I can't promise you that these numbers are going to work perfectly, but these are good estimates that at least give you something to grab. Okay, so let's say in a given, I want to launch one builder. Now, what I define as a launch, Celeste, is someone who has gotten their first maybe 1 to 3 enrollments, right? There's a difference between the launch and the orbit. The launch is when a rocket takes off, leaves the Earth. The orbit is the long-term relationship with the rocket and the Earth.
Okay.
Those are not the same processes, right? It's not the same physics. And so in network marketing, the launch is the takeoff, ongoing mentoring is the orbit. So what I found to be really helpful for people is to be like, all I'm trying to do is get this rocket off the ground.
Right.
After the rocket is off the ground, then I'm going to switch to orbiting mentor. So we're trying to get their first 1 to 3 enrollments in the first 2 weeks post launch or post recruiting conversation. Right? Quick, maybe we can go 4 weeks at the most. Right? So how many recruiting conversations do we think it's going to take? Maybe 3 to 4 recruiting conversations to get one launch, right? One person said, you do the recruiting conversation, which is, talk to me about why you would want to do this. Some stuff about the company and why it's great to work with. We have this format in Customer First Sales Mastermind in the recruiting section.
Okay.
So you'll want to make sure that you complete that part. Why it's great to work with, what you would do, how to get paid, and next steps, right? Which is usually to set up your first few appointments or a group event where you invite your top 5-10 people, right? That they invite their top 5-10 people, we can get their first 1 to 3 enrollments. If they're a go-getter and they invite 20 people, then obviously they'll have more enrollments. So once you go through this conversation with people, you're going to have someone say, man, not for me. Someone say yes and then disappear. Someone that says yes, maybe later. And then someone that says yes, let's go. So 1 out of 4 feels like that's a safe bet. Okay. In order to get 4 recruiting conversations, we would estimate that we would need to 3 to 4 recruiting invitations for 1 recruiting conversation. Right? So that means in order to get a launch builder, we're looking at, 9 to 16 invitations per month to get 1 launched builder per month. I think it, for you, Celeste, and I think for almost everyone in our audience, and even for me when I'm selling my own stuff, to us, it's so obvious. 100% of people should want to do the thing that we are asking them to do, right? Even for me, I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm feeling a bit vulnerable today. Because we're out here and we're like, we believe so much in the problems that we're solving in our business. And if people don't, for me, take my advice, it feels personal. There's no way to get around that except to understand the numbers, right? So for me, I start to be like, well, I asked 3 people to buy my mastermind and nobody did, and nobody likes me. And why don't I just pack it up and start selling night, right? Like I go through this spiral. But really, probably like 1 out of 5 people is going to say yes if I'm having a conversation with them. So I need to keep that math in mind so that I don't take it personally, so that I don't become afraid reaching out.
Okay.
Because the fear comes from taking it personally. And the taking it personally comes from not tracking numbers and
Okay.
trying to get insane high levels of success, like unrealistic expectations. Like, I invite 3 people to build a business, and I expect 3 people to be committed and on it builders. That's not the
Right.
industry, right? Because remember, we're disrupting people's lives. Out of nowhere, we're like, want to do work? Oh, by the way, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone, right? You're going to need to make sales. It's
Uh-huh.
also super flexible. You can do it whenever you want. And then we're mad at them because they're not treating it like their career,
Uh-huh.
right? So that's
Yeah.
why I think the numbers are are so useful. When you look at these numbers, what's going through your mind?
That I need to be talking to more people in order to get the recruiting conversations going, because I haven't been talking to people.
Yeah. So what you had said is like, I've been trying, I've been having a hard time recruiting people. And I would say, actually, you're having a hard time inviting people. So I'm
Right.
going to scoot this over and I'm going to draw a visual for you because I think it's going to be easier to really be like, okay, this is what I need to be doing. Right. So we're going to look at, we want one launch builder. So we want to have 3 to 4 recruiting conversations,
Uh-huh.
right? So we need 9 to 16 recruiting conversation invites. Okay. And then up here, we are continuing to network, get referrals. If you are able to have like 3 new customer appointments a week, that's already 3 of your
Uh-huh.
recruiting invites for the week. Because at the end of
Okay.
every new customer appointment, you can say, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to know how to earn income or free product with the company? If you keep your
Right.
customer pipeline full, you will have a pipeline of people you can invite to recruiting conversations, right?
Okay.
While you're out and about, you might have 1 person a week where it's business first, right? You are doing follow up to previous customers, and maybe you invite 2 previous customers to a business opportunity or to a recruiting conversation. And so you can see that's 6 invitations a week
Uh-huh.
if you're doing the core of the business consistently and you're
Okay.
baking it into the process.
Uh-huh.
So it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like what's hard for you is asking people if they want to learn more about the business as much as it is, are we active in each area of the business that feeds the next area?
Okay, I see that. Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you're doing 3 new customer appointments a week, based on what you're telling me, you don't have a problem in saying, are you interested in learning how to earn some income? My question for you is, are you having 3 new customer appointments a week?
I am actually starting to. Things are picking up in that area.
Good. I know
So
you
that's
have
good.
some health stuff that you've attended to, and I want to
Right.
applaud you for your persistence and positive attitude
Oh,
through
thank
that
you.
time, for sure. And so I think it's just a math, it's just a math thing, right? So if you're taking time off to address your health issues, which that's what you needed to be doing,
Right. And
right?
actually, it's a consistent thing that I need to be doing because it's a chronic issue. And so it's like every 3 weeks I need to do this.
Right. So we need to plan that into your schedule. So if you have
Okay.
to take 1 week off every 3 weeks, but you still want to
Yeah.
launch one builder,
Yeah.
then on those other 3 weeks, we need to increase the goals up to maybe 4 appointments or 5 appointments, so that that week that you need to attend to your health, you can just take it off and not feel bad or guilty about it.
So four appointments, new customer appointments a week on the times that I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
Is
on
that
the other, yeah, on the 3 weeks. So
yeah.
that would be 12 a month, which would
Okay.
probably be 6, 7, 8 enrollments a month,
Uh-huh.
which I think you can launch. That easily. You can do 9 to 16 recruiting invitations and start filling up your pipeline.
Okay. That sounds good.
And then the other thing that I would recommend as you're trying to really get your skill going is to just create a really simple tracker, and I can find one for you and get it to you after,
Oh, that would be great.
where you're just putting their name, when did you invite them to the recruiting conversation, etc. It's something that we give that I give my one-on-one clients, but since you've been so nice to share your stuff with the internet, I'll share that with you because I think it's really
Oh, thank
helpful.
you.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I'm not gonna distribute this. If you're watching, you're like, I want that. I'm not gonna distribute this. This is a private client resource that's in the Resilient Leader Mastermind. But if you guys want to just take a screenshot, and I'll give it to you, Celeste. But for
Okay.
anyone watching this, if you guys want to take a screenshot and rebuild your own, that's, I think, fine.
I appreciate it.
Actually, hold on. Yeah, I have a
Uh-huh.
version that we can share probably. Okay, so here's a milestone tracker, and this is the way I would do it. So let's say I had customer Karen, Joelle, Kristen, Zoe, and Haley. So these are my 5 customers, right? Maybe their first order date, I'm just going to put them 11/25, 11/26, 11/27, right? Whatever. Then I'm going to actually mark off what was the date that I invited them to a business overview. So let's say I did it right with Karen. I didn't invite Joelle. I did it right with Kristen, etc. Well, now I can see, oh, shoot, I need to call Joelle back and say, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to know how to earn income? Right,
Okay.
right. I can go back and make sure. Now, these are customer milestones. So once, Joelle says yes, right? I have her business overview. It is 12/1, right? And now I can start to track her milestones and where she's going.
Uh-huh.
I can start to track my own numbers and look for areas where I'm losing people, and then ask for help in that area because like for me as a coach, I need some data in order to be able to give proper advice. I don't know if it's a one-off situation that we just don't need to be bothered with, or if it's a consistent situation.
Uh-huh.
So in this situation, I didn't need to change your language. We just needed to change your numbers.
Right.
And so you'll get bad advice if you don't have numbers in your business, because we'll be addressing the wrong thing, right? So, for you going through some health challenges, can you imagine if your doctors had the wrong data from your blood tests?
That'd be horrible.
So you're like, I don't feel well. The doctor's like, well, you look fine. Keep swimming, Dory. That's how network marketing mentorship typically works, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine any other profession that would operate that way?
No.
No. And so you're like, Doc, I don't feel good. They're like, everything looks okay from the outside, but let's go ahead and run some tests.
Right.
and they get the numbers, because the doctors know what is a normal range and what is an
Right.
abnormal range. Then they can
Right.
give recommendations to improve your health. In business, it's the same thing, right? We have
Mhm.
to track our numbers, so then we can see, is this in the normal range and we're just having emotions,
Mhm. Mhm.
feelings, because we didn't, ate too much ice cream last night, right? Or had a bad dream that woke us up. And so
Yeah.
now we wake up in the morning doubting ourselves. And so we interpret every instance as confirmation bias for our doubt. Or, like, is there actually an issue? So we don't want to dismiss emotions. What we want to do is, when we start feeling bad, we turn back to the numbers to find out what's true. But if we never
Right.
have any numbers, we'll never know what's true.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I have a client that I'm working with in Resilient Leader, and this is from a sales conversation, her initial one, and she's like, I just need to do more appointments. I just need to do more appointments. So I forced her to go back and count how many appointments she had done and how many sales she had made. Turns out it was about 30% sales rate. And I was like, we can do better than that. So we rewrote her sales. She took her company sales presentation that was 40 slides. We moved it down to, I think, 12, had it really,
Mhm.
really specific. And now she's converting at 60%,
Wow, that's really good.
selling life insurance. But here's
Wow.
the best part. She gave it to her builder, who is now also converting at 60%.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have known that anything if she hadn't tracked her
Mhm.
numbers and then been like,
Mhm.
hey, mentor, here are my numbers. Are these within the normal range or not? Because, inside the mentoring she was getting, otherwise they were like, you have 3 people. You're awesome. Keep going.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and she's in her soul, like, I think I can do better, but didn't know why or where or what. And so that's why I think the numbers are so critical.
Mhm.
And then that, right, informs your clear next steps. So the first thing that I want to come back to this, it wasn't clear what success looks like, right?
Right.
So I think it's important at the end of your recruiting conversation to be able to say, what success looks like in the first 2 weeks is to set up your first gathering, have at least 5 people in attendance, or 5 one-on-one appointments using 3-way calls.
Right.
That's what success looks like.
Basically, them having an action plan and doing the next step. Is that correct?
Yeah, revenue generating next step, not learning next step. I
Okay.
can't remember if it was Eric Warrior, Fraser Brooks, that said it really, really well. Once you start a new person, whatever the first thing you have them do is the thing that's going to become their habit. So if you move them straight into learning, they're going to constantly feel like, I need to learn more before I start. But if you move
Right.
them into action, hey, they don't need to learn anything to set a date for their launch event.
Right. Okay.
They don't need to learn anything to tell their best friend, hey, I'm doing this new business. Would you be willing to take a look at it? They don't need training to talk to their first 5 to 10 people.
Right.
It's after that they need some guidance and training.
Okay.
But if they're not even going to invite a handful of people that they're excited to invite to, then are they ever going to do anything? And then we just move to the person who wants to do something.
Right. I get that.
Get that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I think that's more than enough for today. How did we do?
Yeah. Overall, great, great. I think one of the things, real quickly, I wanted to mention is I think also there's been a mindset issue on thinking that, oh, people are going to come to me and ask me about the business. And I think that's been a little bit of a stumbling block.
Where do you think that came from?
I think it's just come from, I don't really know. I have no idea.
Well, being aware of some of the beliefs,
Yeah,
it's important.
right.
And what we have to look at is, it's our business. We're the ones who are getting paid. So we're the
Right.
ones who are going to put in effort. Our job
Right.
is to invite, their job is to decide.
Right.
Now, will you have some people, once you start to get active and you start to get some mojo, your social media presence is strong, but it's not
Right.
annoying, you are going to have people that come to you
Right.
that want to play, but they have to know you're playing. And if you're not
Right.
doing 4 sales conversations a week and you're not inviting people, you're not actually playing. And so you don't know. So right now I've been playing basketball. So we put together a little team. Bunch of people are not going to play next season. And I need to decide, am I going to re-recruit a new team? I haven't decided yet. But if I were to, I would need to make public the fact that I am actually forming a team.
Okay.
Otherwise, how would people come to me?
Right.
How would they know to come to me? And American culture is one in which I'm not welcome if I'm not invited. And I made this
Right.
observation a long time ago because I'm Indian and we just invite ourselves.
Uh-huh.
And my friends who are not Indian think that's so weird,
Uh-huh.
right? Because in American culture, if you are not invited, that means you are excluded.
Right.
And so by not taking the friendly step of saying, hey, Celeste, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to know how to earn money? I'd love to
Uh-huh.
work with you if that's something you'd be interested in.
Okay.
Doesn't that feel so much better than being standoffish, putting up walls because you don't want to be rejected?
Yeah.
Do you think they feel those walls? They're going to feel those walls.
Right.
Now, what happens is when you remove those walls and you start asking everyone, even if you forget to ask someone, the walls are down. So they'll
Uh-huh.
feel the inclusive vibes. Right now, if you're not inclusive, you're exclusive.
Uh-huh.
By you saying, I'm only going to talk to people who come to me, you're creating a wall, aren't you?
A little, yes. Uh-huh.
Now, sometimes you want to create a wall, but not now. This is not the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I understand that.
So for me, like I could only take on so many one-on-one clients. So I create a wall.
Right.
Because if I didn't create a wall, I would have too many and I would be completely overwhelmed and it would not be good.
Right.
But I don't have a wall for masterminds. I don't have a wall for workshops, right? So is my job to offer. I'm not just going to put content out there and not invite people, not include people.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So now how do we do?
We did great.
What do you think
Uh,
were your biggest takeaways for this conversation?
My biggest takeaway is, I'm looking at my notes here, is focusing on inviting 9 to 16 people a month to the recruiting conversations. And after I have a sales conversation, to invite them to the recruiting conversation, or to bring up the business opportunity, because
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Perfect. Isn't it lovely when the area of opportunity is in our control?
Yes, it is.
It's a little bit like, oof, but also like, okay, good. That's something I can do. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on here. Now I know you are in Customer First Sales Mastermind, so we picked a couple people from that group.
Right.
What would you like to say to our audience about how your experience has been in Customer First Sales? What do you think? Do you think
Actually,
they should take it?
it has been wonderful. This afternoon, the reason why I say afternoon is because I'm in Europe right now. It's evening for me. But this afternoon I was going back through the material, and really focusing on working on my the invite to the sales conversation,
Mhm.
and focusing on honing down on that. And one of the things I really appreciated about having that material is because now when people say that, ask if they want to get on a call with me, I will have all of the material there prepared to have an effective call. And so I was actually focusing on that thought today, and I really appreciate it a lot that
Awesome.
I have the material there.
What would you say to someone who might be like, should I take that course or should I work with Tasha? What would you say to them?
I was actually that person because it took me a little while to take the step and to sign up for it. And I think for me, it's been well worth it
Awesome.
because it's giving me the tools that I need to be successful.
I love that. Awesome. All right, I think we're good for today. You have your marching orders. I should let you get off and start to do the work. And for everyone watching, I hope this was helpful for you. Give Celeste some love if you see this video. And I think that's it for today. So bye, everyone.
I appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Celeste, you stay here though.
Okay.
Stop recording.